All right, let's do it live on a Football Friday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. I am merely Beau. He is the great Z. How you doing, pal?
It's 29 degrees out there, but we have turned the page. Christmas season is here. You know, I think it's the most wonderful time of the year, so I'm fired up about it. I can't wait. It's going to be just a real delight. It is going to be delight. No, that is not right. That's
last week.
That's last week. A little copy and paste from Gib. Hey, listen, it was the holiday yesterday. You're fine. We're fine. We're safe. We're big bees. We'll handle it. We'll do it on the fly. But I just want to – I don't want to toot my own horn or your own horn.
Toot away.
But toot.
Ball can't spike itself.
3-0 yesterday for the kids.
There you go.
Clean Thanksgiving sweet. We paid for your Thanksgiving meal. If
you're
paying
welcome.
Attention to the scores. Yeah.
You're welcome out there, kids.
You're welcome.
What did you make of the what was on display yesterday from a football standpoint?
I actually was entertained by the Bears and the Lions game. I really was hoping the Lions would pull it out somehow. The DeAndre Swift injury was very sad. Hated to see it. And in fact, as a matter of fact, I'm in a league that I'm in with my buddy Don. Listen to this shadiness.
Give it to me.
So we had put in a trade out there. We're going to win it all to put Henry and Robert Woods, who are both out for the year in this keeper league, for DeAndre Swift and Mike Evans. And the guy had been saying no. The trade was, I guess, still on the site.
Oh, no.
Swift gets hurt. The guy accepts it immediately after the injury. And they are there. It will stand, which is insane to me. Like, you shouldn't be able to make it's ridiculous.
So it's a clerical error on your part.
Not my part, Don's part.
Don,
yes.
I mean, Don blew it.
Donnie
to be
blew
fair, Donnie blew it.
But that's
you blew it, boy.
That's not in the spirit.
I'm not saying that it's in the spirit, but if this were to go, if we were to put this in front of a court of law, then the court of law can't rule in spirits. Court of law has to rule in facts, and the facts are the trade should have been rescinded.
Well, the trade shouldn't be able to be accepted once a player's game is kicked off for that week. Like there should.
I agree with you on that. The other thing is it shouldn't be a trade that's able to float from week to week. Like, does he reject the deal? So obviously he never rejected the deal.
No, he just let it sit out there.
He just let it sit out there and then
when there was an injury.
In a way, I respect him for it.
No, I don't.
Yeah. In a way, I respect him for it. I think that's a pretty good job out of him. Gibby wants us to.
We got lots of news.
Okay. Well, no, the first. All right. So so here's where we are. Schwartz ruled out.
Yep.
Hill and Donovan Peoples-Jones questionable, and then Kareem Hunt and Jack Conklin activated. So that's kind of where we were on Wednesday.
That means no injury designation for Tack McKinley. He's back. No injury designation for JOK. He's back. No injury designation for Baker again, which means that he is believed to be healthy.
Is this all happening right now? Is Coach talking right now?
The injury report came out right now, and I'm guessing Coach must be. Is he talking now, Gibbe?
He is in the middle of a snowstorm outside.
Okay. Well,
there you go.
There it is.
There you go. That's where you stand on that.
Well, we're
front.
here talking right now.
We are, yeah. We are. So there you go. So you got Conklin and Hunt both in. We kind of felt that's where that was trending. You're about as healthy as you've been.
Yeah.
At receiver, it's still an adventure because with Schwartz ruled out and DPJ questionable, obviously very, very thin there. But you do have both the backs, and that's a big part of it.
Yeah, and what I would say is getting the backs, your line is healthy. A.J. Green is back in the secondary, so even if you were not to have Troy Hill, that you're looking very good there from that standpoint. So I feel like you said, I feel very good about our health going into this game on both sides of the ball. Yeah, you're real healthy. And getting Tack back, his speed as a pass rusher on the edge is good. We're going to have all three of the safeties that we were talking about. Yeah, this is as healthy as this football team has been in quite some time. And if you're a Browns fan, which I'm assuming that you are listening to this show, that's good. That's a good thing. We need it. We're headed into basically a 6-game round robin playoff stretch. The Raiders, by the way, thrust themselves right back into the conversation.
Just honestly forget about it with this league, making sense of it. How does Dallas do what it's done? I understand no CeeDee Lamb and the penalties were crazy, but like, holy cow! Like, how does it come into that? And then, like, did you see this video of Bayless going around this morning?
No,
you haven't.
No.
Look, I don't want to draw too much attention because I think that's probably the idea of it, of why he did it.
Okay.
But it's one of the most bizarre videos I've ever seen someone in media make.
About what?
Himself, like, appears to be trying to hold back tears Doesn't really say anything, just like fake cries for 20 seconds. But he's trying to sell it that he's actually crying over the game. And anybody knows somebody, because he pertains to be a huge Cowboys fan, but he worked for the Dallas Morning News and was a thorn in the Cowboys' side for a lot of that time as a columnist. So you know that it's all an act, but it's one of the more disturbing videos you'll find. And I'm guessing that was the idea. So I guess he's won in a weird sense of Barstool. Everyone's retweeted it. Like it's been a meme all morning.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Really bizarre, odd thing.
I don't know if I want to watch it. Barstool's tweet says, "This Skip Bayless video will ruin your weekend and likely your Christmas and possibly your entire 2022."
I think that's fair.
That doesn't make me want to watch it.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I'm worse off for it. So, no, but from the big picture perspective, I don't know how you make sense of week to week. I thought Dallas would win. But you assumed that you thought it would be a close game, but they were really down the whole time. The penalties are the penalties. But how do you make sense of this league week to week?
You don't, and we both had it. And by the way, let me just say, number one, the Raiders uniforms are the best uniforms in all of professional sport. The black jerseys, they're just spectacular. Deshaun Jackson looked great wearing that.
No one's ever looked bad in that uniform.
No, and
ever.
he looked particularly
sensational
good on that touchdown.
Yeah.
He looked great. You can't. There's a lot of I think parity is real. I think there are a lot of talented teams out there, and there are a lot of talented players, and it takes a play here or there that change a game, and it sets a tone. And they battled. There's no doubt they battled. Did the Cowboys, and you're without your weapons. Gallup had a nice game. I think he went over 100 yards there, but they just didn't have the firepower. And I'll tell you, I said it before going into that game, and I still believe it. Tony Pollard is better than Ezekiel Elliott. They are better.
I think that,
when he's getting the football. I mean, when's the last time we saw a kick return for a touchdown?
Yeah, almost never now. You almost never see one. No.
And that was a big one.
It was. Yeah, it was. I think a big reason that the Raiders' color scheme is great, but the other part of it is there is no third color on the uniform. It is only those two colors. There's no white. There's not trim. Like, it's just black and silver. That's it. And there's nothing else. So it's void of all other color, and that's what allows for – those are great and menacing, but
it's just good.
But that's a great look. And I love the Cowboys in their home uniforms. I think those are great. I love how weird they are, that they have three different shades of blue. It's wild how they've done that. And that's an old Tex Schramm deal from back in the old TV days when the television was a tube. And the reason that they went with that aqua silver blue on those pants is because through the television they would come out silver. That was the idea, is that they would come out silver with that. That was the color it took, and then they just stayed with it. And it's not anywhere else in sport. That color is not on anything else in all of sport.
No.
I've never seen it anywhere. It's not anywhere else on their uniform. It's only in the pants, the home pants. It's not in the road pants. It's in the home pants. And that's it. That's the list. It's not anywhere else in sport. It's like they own the Pantone.
Yeah, it's wild.
It absolutely is. The early game, not much out of that. And then, like I was telling you beforehand, I was kind of done with the NFL by the time I got to the evening. And this weekend for college football is so great because it truly is a bragging rights weekend. So much of college football the last 20 years has been about the BCS and the college football playoff and so forth and so on. But for this weekend, it kind of gets back to its roots a little bit, where what really matters is, do you beat your inter or intrastate rival, one of the two? And so to see two schools that just hate each other, like Mississippi State, there's like class warfare, like all of that. I just thought it was absolutely sensational. If you think about it, so much so, Ohio State, Michigan's tomorrow. If you think about when Woody Hayes was at Ohio State in the 60s and 70s, when Beau got to Michigan in the last year of 60s and then through the 70s, their whole season was that game. They oftentimes would lay an egg in bowl games and not play well in the Rose Bowl, lost chances at national titles because what mattered most to him was beating Michigan. That was the job. And there's still some of that deep-rooted in college football despite everything. How was your meal? Did you have a good meal?
Did have a nice meal, yeah. Miss Kay's mom, Jack Kay, did a great job with the bird. We had great sides. It was lovely.
Jack Kay?
Yeah, Jack Kay.
Wow. Jackie?
Jackie. Yeah,
you're right. But then Miss K, and then a Jack K. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
There was a comedian Jack K back in the old days. Yeah.
Might have been on 227.
I think you're right. I feel like you're right on that front. Yeah. Had a good bird, good sides, went across the board. Kids got to run around, watch football.
Kayla made like a creamed corn casserole thing.
Okay.
That was really good.
Give me the details.
It basically ended up tasting like cornbread with a topping of cheese and bacon. And it was just kind of good. And it's typically, that sounds way out of my...
Yeah, you're not a cream guy.
No, but cream corn, I'm not afraid of cream cone. It was good.
Yeah.
That was good.
What is it that gets you with the cream then? Is it the mayo?
Yeah, I hate mayo.
Mayo, yeah.
It repulses me.
Yeah, you don't want that. And then anytime we got a taco joint, you get rid of the cream.
No sour cream, no crema.
None of that.
No aioli.
None of
it.
it.
You can give it all the names you want. I know what it is.
It's all the same.
And I don't want it.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
right.
What did you go to dessert? Did you have a piece of pie?
So my mom did these, I did have a piece of pie at a little Jack Hay, made a homemade pecan pie, which was delightful.
Yep.
Miss K made a chocolate souffle with like an Oreo cookie crust.
Sold.
It was,
Sold.
I mean, the chocolate, it was basically like the best chocolate pudding you've ever had in your life with an Oreo cookie. It was amazing. And then my mom made, she took like a Honeycrisp apple, cut it in half, and then kind of like filled it up with cinnamon and brown sugar and some oats and some caramel sauce and some bourbon.
Yes.
And then I don't know if she baked it or did something with it. And then when it was really good.
That's a nice job.
Yeah. What did you have? And I'm not.
There were a lot of pie options.
But
I can tell you right now, Black Cobra and Beamsy are out of the will. So it comes time to get Bootsy's getting all of it. I'm looking at the pie situation. And there's a banana cream, that's always my number one draft pick, is a banana cream pie would be my number one draft pick in all circumstances. So there's a banana cream pie. There was appeared to be like I think they probably call it almost like a chocolate mud pie. It seems similar to what you said Miss K made, where it has maybe an Oreo crust and then a chocolatey pudding cream, whipped cream. That looked great. That was an option out there. Of course, there was an apple. Apple, I find the ceiling can be pretty high and the floor pretty low. Depends on where we're at with it. This one looked to be middle road. And then there were a couple of pumpkin pies.
I want some banana cream pie. That sounds
of course
great.
you do.
It's the best.
So I'm there with the two bigs of the littles, and I said, what are we at here, boys? What are we getting? And they both go pumpkin, and I went, what? Like you're taking vegetable pie? Look at these. Are you sure? I kept trying to sell them. Like there were cannolis and all this other stuff. Like what do you there's some real options here, guys. You don't have to take the pumpkin pie. Like you can spread your wings a little bit. So they both take the pumpkin pie. They load them up with Cool Whip. And essentially what happens is they basically just eat Cool Whip pumpkin because they didn't eat the crust anyway. So I was like, what do we do here? What a fail on your part. Bootsy, mud pie. Crushed it.
Of course he did.
Crushed it.
Nobody goes in the banana cream pie?
I did.
Well, of course you did.
I just think not familiar with it. It's a pie. First of all, you don't
only
see that
the
much.
best pie.
It's the best pie. You rarely see it up here. You see it a lot in the South.
Sure.
You see it a lot. But you don't see it much up here. And pie in general, I don't think gets the love that it deserves. It's like only twice a year you have pie, right?
If that.
Thanksgiving and Christmas. That's it. Like there's really, even Easter, I feel like you end up in carrot cake world, which I like is just fine, but like it's not as good as a pie.
Banana cream pie, though, is the best. To your point, it's Southern banana pudding, the best pudding.
Yeah.
Some Nilla wafers in there. That's what they had when I went to Emory. We had in one of the halls that you could get, like where you got lunch. It was Cox Hall. They had it in the fridge every day, fresh.
But they did.
Banana,
that's right.
Banana pudding, and I
banana pudding
every day
with the Nilla wafers and
the Nilla wafers in there.
So
just
good.
A cup, grab and go. Sure, I'll have that.
Crush that. I believe I will have that.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
Thank you.
And so that's where you stand. Over the next hour 45, we'll get you set for our game. Of course, the Browns and the Ravens on Sunday Night Football. You have a question, sir?
Just some coming out of Baltimore. Calais Campbell and Jimmy Smith have been DNPs all three practices this week, and Calais Campbell has given us fits.
I still have nightmares of him raising his big paw up, slapping things down.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he had a
pick
at the beginning of the game
last year.
Yeah, it was the first possession. Of the season.
That's right. And you went, oh, great, here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
So that is something that we're going to have to keep an eye on with with the Ravens. That would be a significant loss to their defense.
And the way you read that made it seem like this isn't something that's been happening weekly, but rather something that's unique to this week.
Yes,
so
he's got a concussion, Calais Campbell. So.
Oh, okay. Well, then once you're in there, it's how that can go.
Right.
It can be tough to get out of it. All right, lots to get to. Get you your a little over-under fun for you. We got the scores coming up as well, and get you set from this one from both sides of things, our side and their side from the perspective. Hear from our coordinators as well. We are off and running on a Friday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Browns fans can win big with the digital scratch-off game brought to you by Ohio Lottery on clevelandbrowns.com and the Browns social channels. Fans can play once per day throughout the season by digitally scratching off a virtual card for chances to win great prizes like Team Shop gift cards and tickets to future games. For more information, log on to promotions.clevelandbrowns.com. And with that, we head out on the hotline for a little conversation with one of the best corners in all of the National Football League. There's our buddy Denzel Ward.
The Warden.
The Warden is here. Denzel, thanks for taking the time. But, boy, Friday after Thanksgiving, as long as you've been playing formidable football, that's probably been a big one. We know what this one means down in Columbus, a rivalry game here for us as well this weekend. Is it just second nature to see a team that is a rival this weekend for you?
Yeah, but it's definitely a big game, like you said. But, yeah, definitely used to it. And good luck to those guys down in Ohio State going against that team up north. So definitely looking forward to watching that game. But, yeah, rivalry week is always one of those great weeks to be a part of.
Denzel, how many gold pants do you have? I just want to check.
Oh man, I think for every year I was there, I got three gold pants.
That's kind of the way that rivalry. They've only won twice in 20 years, so you guys have put it on them. Real quick before we get into our game, what did Urban? What did they do, and how did they get that message across to the kids who did not grow up in Ohio? What that rivalry meant, and almost in a way convince you that even though that Ohio State has won so many of these games, that they were this team to be feared and hated the way that they were.
Just going in, I mean, they put an emphasis on game, but also told us the history about it, about going up against a team up north and what it means to this program and everything. And I mean, you see it all around the building. Once it's that week, you see they take the blue helmets blue, and I mean, we just do a lot of various things to just put an emphasis on that game, that this is a big week, and we got to go in there and get the job done.
All right, and we've got a rivalry game coming up where we've got to get the job done against the Baltimore Ravens, Denzel, and you come into this one hot. Obviously, a couple picks in your last 3 games, the pick 6 against Cincy that really set the tone in your return to action, and then this big one. They only targeted you once in this game, and when they did, you ended up with the football against the Detroit Lions. But what is this Ravens team? What are you seeing from them on tape? Because it feels like from the outside, all of a sudden, this is a pretty good passing offense, which is not something it had necessarily been in the past.
No, definitely. I mean, you obviously see that they're capable of running the ball with whether that's Lamar quarterback or their running backs. And, I mean, they got some good receivers on that side of the ball as well with Brown and Watkins, Bateman, all those guys. So they got some good receivers and face a threat come game day. But, I mean, I think we're up to the challenge, and we just got to go in there and do our job.
Denzel, it does feel like that a lot of the things that Andrew Berry has done with this defense via draft and free agency over the last couple of years, and it would make sense to do so, and he's very smart, so it's not surprising, was in an effort to slow down Lamar and all of the speed that's been drafted and brought into this defense. And yet you guys haven't had that many games this year where you've all been healthy and we could kind of see everything this defense has been capable of. How difficult has that been for you guys to battle the injury and put consistent performance on the field?
Yeah, I mean, whoever's in there, I mean, guys have stepped up a lot, stepped up big time, and got the job done. So, but yeah, definitely on the point of guys all been in there at the same time. I think we were that Cincinnati game, and you see what everybody was capable of and what this defense is capable of. And so, I mean, it's just about all putting it all together when we're all out there on the field.
Denzel, when you have a quarterback like Lamar who can extend plays, how does that change your approach in coverage?
Yeah, I mean, us as DBs, we still got to cover our guy, but we may have to cover a little longer, knowing he's back there running around and wait for our rush to get there. So just got to plaster and make sure that we cover longer.
What has Rashad Bateman done for them offensively? Remember him at Minnesota, obviously, where he was one of the best receivers in the Big Ten for several years. What has he done, and how has he changed their offensive attack?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's just him. I mean, all those guys, Watkins, Brown, I mean, they all have a different threat about them, whether it's their speed or size or just ability to catch the ball or whatever. So, I mean, they're definitely capable receivers. And, I mean, we just got to do what we're supposed to do our job and execute on our end, and we should be good.
Yeah, you mentioned Brown, Hollywood Brown, on pace for a career year right now. Already 52 catches, 719 yards, 6 touchdowns. He's the vertical threat. He's the speedster. When you're dealing with him, is that one of those where you say, all right, we got to make sure we keep him in front of us first and foremost?
Yeah, that's definitely one of those guys you want to keep in front of you. You don't want him to take the top off the defense because, I mean, that's exactly what he does. As you see on games on film, he takes the top off the defense and somebody that they can take a shot to.
Denzel, when you have a week like this, and you're used to it, as Beau was pointing out, used to it, the big game coming following the Thanksgiving holiday, this is a massive game for this Browns team, Sunday night football coming off of the holiday. What's kind of the mindset of this team? And, you know, for somebody who's used to it, how do you go from that Thanksgiving day and then getting right back into it, putting a good day of work out here in some tough conditions and getting ready for prime time on Sunday?
Yeah, just got to be where you're at and just focus on the task at hand. Like you said, it's a big game, but I mean, to me, every game's a big game. So this is the next big game. I think Coach Stefanski, he emphasizes that a lot throughout the team, that the next game is a big game, and this is the next one. So we got to go in and and take care of business.
Any friendly wagers with DPJ on this one on Saturday at noon up in Ann Arbor?
Not yet. I got to hurry up and go talk to him though, so I can get a wager. I definitely got my Buckeyes.
I bet you do. That's a pretty safe bet. Hey man, good luck on Saturday the Bucks, and let's bring home a win from Baltimore over the weekend. Thanks for your time, bud.
All right, thank you.
All right, the Warden.
Let's
right.
go. Do you remember?
Don't test the Warden.
There was a you remember the film in the 90s called The Usual Suspects? Have you heard of this movie? You've seen this movie?
Familiar with it.
So at the end, there's this guy named Verbal Kent, and he's being interrogated by Chaz Palminteri, who's the policeman, and they're trying to find this criminal named Kaiser Sose, and Palminteri is really coming on and being aggressive interrogation into Verbal Kent, played by Kevin Spacey. And at one point, Verbal Kent says, Agent Coulion, one of the greatest things that the devil ever did was to convince the world that he didn't exist. And as we find out in the movie a little bit later, in one of the great twists,
that's right.
And I don't want to give it away in case people haven't seen it, in one of the great twists, Kaiser Sose did this as well. And so it comes full circle. I recommend you. I'm sure you haven't heard of it, but honestly, Google it. It's great. That is a long way of saying this. That's what the Ohio State football coaches have done with this rivalry. They have convinced and brainwashed these kids that Michigan will take something from them. Michigan hasn't taken anything from them in a long time. They won twice in 20 years. And I feel like it still matters more to the Ohio State kids than it matters more to the Ohio State fan base. Somehow the Ohio State fan base feels like they're slighted or cheated or disrespected by Michigan. And it all stems from this stretch in the 90s where Michigan had all the success. It's all rooted in that. Because other than that, as long as everyone's been alive, it's been a pretty even series and largely a one-sided series. But that stretch changed everything, and they convinced kids who aren't even from Ohio that Michigan will steal things from you. And they never do. They haven't in a long time.
As, you know, somebody who obviously didn't grow up here, I was on the Ponderosa.
Sure.
Coming here, and I got here in 2001, and I have friends on both sides of the aisle.
Yeah.
I find it from a psychological standpoint fascinating.
Right.
That it feels like there is significantly more animus from the Buckeye side to the Michigan side.
Correct.
And there's like such an intense hatred and almost jealousy is the wrong word, but there's something when all they do is dominate them. Like,
right.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
You would think it would be the opposite.
You think it would be inverted, yeah.
And it's not.
No.
Like,
I think it stems from the 90s. I think you'd have to be a child in the 90s.
Okay, but that's a long time ago.
You can't get over it. And the thing that's crazy is in the 90s, many times Ohio State brought the better game, the better team, the more talented team to the game, and Michigan won. What's pretty wild is that over this 20-year stretch where Ohio State's lost twice, the same has been true, but Michigan has almost never pulled the upset. I mean, it's just crazy. Like it defies logic that they haven't won one by accident.
Like 16 was as close.
Right.
It was close.
The double overtime, yeah. And they probably had the better team that day and probably deserved to win and didn't. But they really aren't. 13 was a great game. You give credit to Brady Hoke. He went for 2, and Tyvis Powell, Cleveland native, stepped in front and had the interception to preserve a perfect regular season in 13. But there's up there in Ann Arbor. But there's no – it's just interesting how – I think you're right. I think that the hatred, the vitriol – is all on the Ohio State side, and it as if Michigan has been taking stuff from them, and then they convince the players that this is the reality. It's amazing job of psychology.
It feels almost like in Ohio State's mind, they're the little brother that's trying to prove something when, like,
there's no question.
They're not.
They're not.
They're the Goliath.
They're King Kong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't get it. It's crazy.
No, it is.
Like,
it is.
S is in training already. He's already like.
Well, I heard him before we started
hear
the
how
show.
fired
Like
up
how
he
fired
is?
up he was. He was
Because
shot out of a cannon.
Because it's within 24 hours of this game.
Yeah, and he's really confident. Like he was talking. You know, he was texting me about it earlier this week about how fired up he is. He's so
30-point win.
Yeah,
easy.
Yeah. So he's very, very confident in the game. So and I think he has a right to be. But it's amazing that how the coaches convince the players of that they're the team to be envied, or you want to prove something to them, and it's like, well, you are King Kong. You've proven it time and time again. And my hunch is that they will again. It's a real incredible study in psychology and how you can get inside people's mind and almost convince them of things, much as Verbal Kent did, i.e., Kaiser Sose.
Really good.
And it comes full circle. Alex Van Pelt at the podium coming up next. Over-unders coming up after that. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, welcome back into Cleveland Browns Daily. EOX Vantage has that local presence and the global footprint, trusted by some of the world's biggest brands. Here's a testimonial from EOX Vantage client Ed Scheel. Ed is the vice president at Skyward Specialty Insurance, and he says, quote, "The tools we've designed with EOX Vantage are real business changers that open the door for us to all sorts of valuable opportunities and efficiencies. They help our team members stay on the same page while collaborating remotely, make it easy to communicate with customers, cut way down on manual data entry and the associated input errors, and cut hours off processes and response times. Operationally, it is a brand new ball game for us. And it can be for you, too. I encourage you to learn more about EOX Vantage by visiting www.eoxvantage.com or give them a call at 216-298-1616. Again, that's a local company here, kids. 216-298-1616. And with that, here's your offensive coordinator, Alex Van Pelt, at the podium.
You guys are down 6 minutes.
Scheme is a big part of it. You know, they're interchangeable. They do a great job. Their pressure packages are probably one of the top in the league as far as how they pressure. You know, the red zone isn't as complicated. Third down, they give you some real exotic looks, but the red zone, they just play good, sound defense down there. They're number one in the league in both areas.
When you mention that, the pressure package, is it a lot different than most of the other teams in the league, what they do?
It is. It's just multiple. There's a lot of it, and especially when you get into this point of the season now, you have all the games under their belts. There's, usually you're looking at 60 pressures or 80 pressures. Now you're looking at 180 pressures. You're looking, the pressures from the opener as well. So the more film that's out there, they are very good in their pressure packages. Multiple looks, multiple front structures. They do it with a lot of different bodies down there too. So it takes a lot of time to decipher through all the looks.
Assuming you get Kareem back Sunday, what element do you take in your offense?
I really think it's just his energy that he brings. It will be huge for us. I don't see us using him a lot differently than we have in the past. Really just that 1-2 punch with him and Nick. But anytime you get him back on the field, it's good for the team because he brings a lot of energy.
How about Jack?
Same with Jack. I mean, we're getting healthy, which is a good thing for us down the stretch here. Having Jack back will be just as important for us offensively. Blake's done a nice job stepping in his place, but Jack's a very good player. So really excited to get both those guys back.
Sorry, Alex. Anything about those guys this week that you've observed on the field?
It just looks like looks like it did when we started the season, which is a good thing. We like our guys. We're finally getting healthy at the right time of the year.
So they look good.
They look great. Yeah, Kareem looked great, and Jack looked like he hadn't missed a beat.
How did Baker look in practice yesterday after sitting out Wednesday?
Yeah, very strong day. We were inside. Ball was flying off his hands. He's very accurate. I don't know if we had an incompletion yesterday, so it was a really solid day of work for him.
Just with him and Kareem, I guess, how much of a help is it for Baker to have Kareem out there and some of those situations with his ability in the pass game?
Oh, it's huge, and he does a great job. Kareem made a huge play against them last year. On a short yard situation, made a big catch down the sideline. So adding him back into the mix as a third down back and then spelling Nick, and keeping both those guys fresh is a big part of what we do well offensively.
Baker added to his list of injuries with the groin injury. Did that happen in the game, or do you kind of?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think it's anything that's going to, that's cause for concern, but it's just piling on right now for him. So I think he's feeling better. Have to talk to him about that, but hopefully he'll, that'll be it for the season. We feel healthier each week.
We know Jarvis is going to play, but Donovan has been, banged up.
Yep.
You get him back on the field yesterday. Just what are you seeing from him, and are you worried that he's? I realize he won't be 100%.
Right.
But,
yeah, no, he looked good yesterday. He did some individual routes, and he looked good, looked like himself again. Hopefully today will be the same, and hopefully there's no setbacks between now and Sunday. But he's a guy that's made a lot of plays for us this year, and it'd be great if we can get him up on Sunday.
Baker said when we talked to him Wednesday that he felt like he was getting healthier and able to move around. But have you seen that maybe since that Patriots game that he started to be able to move around? He had that one scramble against the Lions.
Saw it yesterday in practice too. I think he's hopefully turning the corner on all that stuff.
Yeah. Now that you've seen De'Aaron, is there any way you can use all three of those guys? I mean, give him a few,
Yeah, no, I think that, yeah. I mean, he got some touches yesterday in practice. Mm-hmm. We're going to go in with our two guys for sure, and we're happy that De'Aaron was as productive as he was. He's done a great job, and I think he'll get some other opportunities on special teams to be productive as well. But really love our three backs right there.
Hey, Alex, we've asked you a lot about the pass game this year. Obviously, there's been some factors, but I want to ask about the passing touchdowns. You guys haven't had as many, I guess, as a lot of people were hoping.
No question, yeah.
Hoping to see this year. Just
right.
What do you think has been the main reason behind that? That you guys just haven't gotten the ball in the end zone?
We just haven't, and that's true. I would like to say sit here with 25 touchdowns, and we don't have that throwing the ball yet. We do run it when we get down in the red zone. That's one of our strengths. So But collectively, I've not sat back and examined why we haven't thrown touchdown passes. We do definitely need to be more productive and explosive in the pass game. That's something we definitely put our eye on, but not touchdown, how it relates to touchdowns. But definitely need more out of the pass game.
Baker was talking about being frustrated with his inaccuracy against the Lions, and mostly because he'd make a couple good throws and then miss a couple. So when you see that, is there anything you can identify that, on that Jarvis interception that he did on this play that on another good throw he didn't do?
Right. It's nothing fundamental as I look at it. As a quarterback, you're going to have days where you just miss a throw, and sometimes you're going to miss more than one in a game. And and my thing to him is just you got to just keep playing. That's natural. That comes in, with the longer you play, you're going to have days like that where it doesn't always go your way, and this is battling through that adversity and finding the corrections you need to make. I didn't see anything fundamentally. I would never blame it on the weather, but it wasn't a great day for throwing the ball. But yeah, we still, I expect him to make those throws moving forward, and so does he.
30.
You mentioned that with some of those lower body injuries, that those were maybe impacting his mechanics a little bit, given his throwing motion. I guess, how have you seen him try to navigate that aspect of it and maybe make up for that?
Yeah, I haven't really seen much change from the waist down. He's definitely a guy that throws with a lot of torque and core, and those injuries that he does have, can affect how much he torques, when he throws it. But like I said, he's looked really good this week in practice, and I think he'll be just fine.
Europe.
All right, there's your offensive coordinator, Alex Van Pelt. Time for a little matchup. Our offense versus the Ravens defense, which could be shorthanded in this one, Z.
Yeah, and we'll have to get that injury report out of Baltimore, hopefully, before we get off the air here. But, yeah, Calais Campbell, we know what a stud he is. But this is a team that has been great against the run all year, allowing just 88.6 yards per game. They are number one on third downs. They are number one in the red zone. But if there is an Achilles heel, it's the pass defense, and that's why you heard Alex Van Pelt spending a great portion of that talking about this passing game, and the Browns need to get this passing game going. The Baltimore Ravens are giving up 281.1 yards passing per game, 31st in the NFL. Marcus Peters is out. Jimmy Smith has missed all week. Deshaun Elliott, their safety, he's out for the season. The Ravens have allowed an explosive pass play on 17% of their opponents' pass attempts this season, third highest in the NFL. If you watch that game against the Dolphins, it was big plays. You watch the game against the Bengals that they lost, big plays in the passing game. Jamar Chase had 200 yards in that one. C.J. Uzomah, the tight end, had some big ones.
Yep.
You have got to get after this football team via the pass. It is the only way to beat them as a defense. Now, they don't have anybody that's a huge sack guy. Their leader is at 4.5 this season, but they have a lot of guys that can get after the quarterback. Bowser's got 4.5. Jason Oweh's got 4. Justin Houston has got 4. And so you'll see a lot of those guys out there in passing situations playing that outside linebacker in their 3-4 defense. In the middle, they've got Justin Ellis and they've got Justin Matabuke, who are the two big guys in the middle. And then on the other side, Brandon Williams still as well. And then the defensive ends, Calais Campbell, he's the star. That's the main man. And so for Calais Campbell, if he is unable to go, though, that really hurts the interior of that defensive line, because as they listed on the starting lineup, you've got Calais Campbell, Brandon Williams, and Matabuke. Now, Williams missed the last game with an injury. Campbell could be missing this one. And then all of a sudden you're talking about Broderick Washington coming in. Exactly. I don't know who that is either. So that would be a massive loss to them up front if that's the case. They're still good on the back. Marlon Humphrey's still a great player. Now, Jimmy Smith missed last week. He didn't play, and he is not practiced this week. Anthony Averett missed last week. So you got to take advantage of Brandon Stevens, a rookie, playing free safety. You can get after this team. I'm telling you, they have trailed going in the fourth quarter 6 of their 10 games. That's not the hallmark of a great team. What they are is clutch AF. They know how to win
like that,
at the end of the day. That's what they do. They're 4-2 in the 6 games when trailing. They've been behind in the fourth quarter 5 times and won this year.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That doesn't happen. That does not happen in 10 games. That's half of your games.
No.
We need to take the lead. We are built to hold leads, but this is a game where we are going to have to throw to score and run to win. But we must throw to score. That is where they are vulnerable. We must throw the football on this Ravens team.
From Jeff Zrebeck, our good friend who covers the Ravens for The Athletic.
Yes.
He, with Smith not practicing all week, most certainly out. Our Darius Washington, defensive back, hurt his foot in Wednesday's practice, they think he's going to be an IR situation.
Who is this?
One of their DBs,
Okay.
Ardarius.
Washington.
Washington.
Yeah.
Yes. Harbaugh says Malik Harrison, good week of practice, candidate to play both outside and inside for the Ravens since they're shorthanded. Calais Campbell progress has been encouraging. He'll have to pass protocol.
Yep.
Ardarius Washington is out for the year. That just in.
Yep. Broken foot.
Yeah.
So he would, from the Calais Campbell side of things, and from a timeline standpoint, he'd have to. Tomorrow would be the day. You won't know anything until then. He'll have to come through the protocol.
I think
tomorrow.
it has to be before 4 o'clock tomorrow.
Yeah, if I remember right, from when we've had guys in the protocol before, that's kind of where you are on that front. All right, good stuff. Buying or selling a home with Howard Hanna Real Estate Services, always a winning strategy. If you plan to make a move this season, they're going to have you covered. At Howard Hanna, every day is game day. Visit howardhanna.com/go Browns today for more. I'll hit you with little over-unders. Coming up next, you'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Waste Recycling, family owned and operated. Whether you join them as a customer or an employee, you're part of the family. Visit Rumpke.com to learn more. Time for a little over-unders. Hello, Gibbe.
Hi, boys.
Oh, Gibbe. Coming
Hey.
back.
I remember my first microphone.
What do you mean? My mic is on.
I know. You yelled into it. It was great. Distorted. Well done. Happy Thanksgiving. You still suck.
The largest stretch of
Oh, my God.
Gibbe's largest lead in this, at one point, Gibbe's lead was he was 8-2, and Segura was 4-6. That was early on. There was a There's another stretch in here.
He had a chance.
I was going to say, I think I had one more good week before it all went down.
There's the minestrone recipe that I've used. Let's see. Here we go. Weekly scores. This is fantastic radio.
It's a heck of a piece. That's a heck of a notepad you have there. We should autograph that.
Some real notes there. You'll like it.
Oh, this was new math. Remember explaining new math?
Yeah.
The blocks.
We had a little math set.
New math.
Is that before a coach's show?
Could have been. Gibby stretched out you've had a considerable lead pretty much the whole time.
It was a great run, man.
You still have a lead. It's just.
It's not very big.
So, that's what she said. So, Z goes 3-2. Gibby 2-3 last week.
That's right.
Zegura now 26 and 29.
Yep.
Gibby 27 and 28.
1 game lead.
This is the first time this year that you've been under 500 with the over-under.
The fact I got to week 12 with it that way.
You've been there the whole time.
I mean, that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
I'll see you at the bar.
You're there.
I'll see you at the VIP.
Now would be, the time to walk would have been before last week. You would have been ahead.
I'm fine.
So taking small loss. Take the small loss.
Yeah.
So that's where we stand going into this week's over and unders.
Let's go.
Hit it.
Over or under.
Kareem Hunt is back. We'll start with Zegura on this one.
Did he beat me by 1? Is that what he did last week?
Yeah, he went 3-2. You went 2-3. He's stacked beat you by 1s for 3 straight weeks, and so that's how we get to where we get to. Yeah. So Kareem Hunt is back. So we're back to the Chubb Hunt line. Total yards: Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. Total yards 180.5. Zegura.
On the season, the Baltimore Ravens are averaging giving up 123 total yards per game to running backs. This season, there would be 1 game all year in which running backs would have exceeded what you are describing as the over-under. So 10% of the time it has happened. That did happen with the Indianapolis Colts. Jonathan Taylor ran for 53, had 116 receiving on 3 catches, averaging 38.6 a catch. Is that sustainable? I don't know. I'm going to have to go under here. I think we're going to have a nice number. Kareem's going to provide some juice, but you must beat this team throwing the football down the field.
Can we do that without any sort of – we need DPJ.
I believe we've got to do it.
And Chief. Big game for Chief then.
It's like, you remember when Ace Ventura said, I've got to, mister?
I do, yeah.
That's what it is.
That movie doesn't get as much play as it should.
Great.
It's hardly ever on. That and the Austin Powers movies. You hardly see either of those. Gibby, 180.5 total yards, receiving and rushing.
I am
Hunt,
definitely
Chubb.
going under, and my reasoning is I think Kareem Hunt will be on some kind of a pitch count. And that will
you
limit
don't believe
everything.
You don't believe. What if I were to tell you that I have it on good authority he's not going to be on a pitch count?
Well, I mean, you could be lying to me.
I wouldn't do that.
Oh, is he?
Or is it a score?
But I'm saying, would you change your? Would you change what you were doing in the event of that?
I don't know if I can rely on the inside info from you right now because you're trying to get back
Vikings,
into this. You're trying to take the lead.
Similar to us, Vikings,
I think I just have to go with my
161
gut.
total yards for their running back.
My gut is pretty big.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, next.
Over or under.
Gibby, Baker Mayfield completion percentage. I'm looking for a completion percentage number here. And I've set the over-under at this at 64.5er. 64.5, Gibby.
This is a must-win game. We have to come out throwing the football. I would be doing us a disservice if I didn't say over. So I'm going over.
Over.
I'm going with my heart.
For Gibby. It's not a huge number. I mean,
no,
64.5 is very navigable.
That is a number you can achieve.
Yeah, you can achieve that number.
Justin Herbert. This is the last 5 games. Under. Joe Burrow in the blowout where he throws for 416 yards. Under. Kirk Cousins.
Oh?
Under.
Oh, boy.
Tua. Under. Bears quarterbacks. Under.
Oh, boy.
Under.
Under it is. You have no faith in our passing game. Sad.
Yep.
Next.
There it is.
No, it's
we have to
chunk
pass, but now I'm going to take the under.
It's
great.
It's about chunk plays.
Total
racking up the keys.
Total yards, Lamar. Rushing and passing.
Oh, God.
Rushing and passing. Total yards for Lamar. I'm looking for a number higher or lower or over or under 295.5 Zegura.
295.5 total for Lamar Jackson.
Passing and rushing. That's a high number, but it's well within his realm.
Doesn't feel high to me.
It does not feel high to me. I'm going over.
It feels
I'm
low
just
to me.
in front of him.
So let's see. In his this season, week 1 over, week 2 over, week 3 over, week 4 over, week 5 over, week 6 under, week 7 over, week 8 over, week 9 under. So 7 and 2 over.
Next.
Over or under.
Sacks, interceptions, fumbles, Gibbe, 3.1.
At any point in this season, have I gotten this number right?
No.
I didn't think so.
Even when you would go 4-1, this would be the one you would get
Did I do over
wrong.
last week?
You went over 5.1, and it was under. Both you went over. It was under.
What is the
3.1.
3.1.
Sacks, interceptions, fumbles.
Oh, I'm going to go under. I think it's going to be like a 3, and I'm going to be...
Oh, boy. Over. Oh, my gosh.
Let's go. Tag McKinley. Back. Clowney. Miles. Sack. 1 interception. One more thing to happen.
That's it.
That's it.
That's all you need.
Next.
Over or under.
The actual Zegura, 47.
So right now our differences is on that one and on the Baker completion percentage.
There's two
differences.
differences.
There's two differences.
Those are the two differences.
Yeah. I'm actually going to make this 46.5 because I don't want any ties. So instead of 47, it's 46.5.
Can I get a 47.5?
Nope.
Well,
Ruling has already been made.
It's arbitrary to go down as opposed to up.
I'm the arbiter.
I like where your head's
46.5.
Because I loosened it for you. If we're going to win this game,
Yeah.
I believe it's going to have to be over.
Wow. Really? You don't think you can't win a 2017?
I think we've
2016?
You need explosive plays in the passing game, and those lead to points quickly.
I don't know. I think there's another roadmap, but
who's
So you
taking
going
the
over?
over in this? That number was my mind's number. That was 5 points higher than my mind's number.
I think
So
that's fair. Yeah,
that's
I
why I
agree.
think
It's
it's
high.
going over because I think you're getting
Feels
more
like
action on the under.
Go the other way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Z goes over. Gibbe?
I'm doing math in my head, and that's a difficult task.
You've
on
had a lot
on
of
Friday
time,
after
though.
Thanksgiving.
You had a lot of time to get that math going.
Well, I didn't go to school for math.
That wasn't in the curriculum?
No. I went to
Mr.
college.
Gibbs,
I
what's
said,
gonna be
I
your
wanna be in
major?
radio, and I said,
Not
how many
math.
math classes do I have to take? They said 1. I said,
Perfect.
What's the lowest one I
Sold.
can get credit for? Intro to stats? Perfect. Done.
Perfect. Yeah.
That's where I'm at today in life.
Ravens,
Mr. Gibbs, what would you like to major in? Mathematics.
Ravens 5 turnovers in their last 3 games alone. 5 giveaways.
Yeah, but don't forget who played quarterback last week.
Yeah.
Don't let that.
that was the
fool
game
you.
with 1, by the way. Lamar
46.5.
Jackson,
What do you got, Gibbe?
multiple giveaways, 3 of his last 4 starts.
I'm going to go over.
Gibbe goes over.
I
All
was
right, there you
debating.
go.
I was around that 41-42, but I got
So then you decided to go 47-48.
You went with the Sharps. There you go.
No, that's called follow the Z.
Oh, there's
Well,
two
we'll see. You
different
get
ones.
two
Like,
differences.
two
This-
different ones
this
is
is
going
a-
to determine it.
This is a
possibly.
huge. This could be a huge
You don't
moving.
need to raise your voice
Huge-
either by
huge
volume
moving
or
week.
octave to make your point, Gibbe.
All right, we will get Joe Woods up next. Final hour scores as well. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN.
3-0 already, no big deal.
When you're on the injured list, get a little help getting back into the game. Call my friends at 1-800-ELK Ohio for a free case review. Elk & Elk is a proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. And now the defensive side of things with our defensive coordinator, Joe Woods. Let's have a listen.
You're down.
Lamar, as we know, does it all with his
7 minutes
and his legs, but just how do you contain him without giving your game plan away here?
Yeah, no, it's really about responsibility. Everybody has to execute their job. There's a lot of things they do just in terms of misdirection. But the main thing with their offense is they really play with 11 because the quarterback runs it. So you have to play with 11. So there's a couple things we can do, but we're going to have to use all of them in order to slow them down.
So it looked like the run defense still had a couple of issues against the Lions. Was it the same thing that bothered you guys against New England, and then how will Baltimore kind of challenge that?
We knew they were going to run the ball. They changed with Coach Campbell when he took over, and they're committed more to the run. They were committed more to the run. The long run on third down kind of hurt us. You take that run out, and then it's kind of normal based on what they were doing. But it still comes down to this gap control. We had some missed tackles in the open field, so guys just have to do a better job just in space getting guys on the ground.
How has Lamar kind of grown since he's come in the league? I know you obviously always have been in the AFC North and played against him.
Yeah.
How has he grown just as a quarterback?
Yeah, I remember when Flacco was there, we played against him when I was in Denver. But he was just coming in on a few snaps. But you could see he was different. And I think just with each year, definitely with that system, they're going to tailor it to what he does best. I think he's throwing the ball a lot better, probably than he was early in his career. So I think overall, with the run game, what they're doing in the pass game, makes it very difficult to defend them.
They're a team that they've played some tight games this year. They've won tight games, and they're a come from behind team.
Right.
What do you see from them, especially in the second half and that fourth quarter, from an offensive perspective that's made them better in those moments, maybe rather than earlier in the game?
The combination of what they do in the run game and the play action puts a lot of stress on you in coverage. This guy's trying to get to their fit, and then now you got something behind you. Then when they get in the fourth quarter and open it up, he's doing a good job just in terms of throwing the ball. They have weapons all over the field at the wide receiver position, at the tight end position, and you can see those things come alive in those situations where they're coming back.
When you're preparing for something like that, and you know, even if you took an early lead, they might have that ability to bounce back. How do you prepare through practice and heading into that game for those scenarios?
Yeah, I just think that's a weekly thing. I don't think it's anything unique to Baltimore. I mean, any game that we played, we jumped out to a lead, teams come back. I think it's really just relying on what you game plan and guys just executing. You just don't want to put more pressure on yourself. It's just go out, execute your coverage. The situation doesn't matter. Just do the same thing that puts you in a position where you have that lead.
Hey, Joe, when you see Miami do as much cover zero as they did against Baltimore, does that make you think about changing your plan at all?
Not really. I think whether you're on offense or defense, it's a copycat league. So whatever you see that's effective against somebody, you try to put it into your game plan if it fits. We're going to stick with our game plan. We have things like that, but we're definitely not trying to beat Miami. But we'll have some different change-ups.
How much cover zero would you say you've run this year?
Overall, probably around 10 snaps, a little less than 10. But it's more situational when we call it. It may not look like zero, but we're in zero.
I mean, the danger there is somebody gets behind your guy and it's a touchdown, right?
Yeah, but you call man coverage the same thing. So, we're not afraid of it. We just try to use it in a timely manner.
Joe, I know there's been a handful of times this year where Miles has kind of dropped back into coverage. I think it's like 7 total snaps.
Yeah.
I guess when you have a pass rusher as good as him, why does it make sense to do that occasionally and bring him in coverage?
I always talk to those guys about that. It's about the mix. So if they want to take all their coverage or all their protection to him, then we'll come off the other side and make them make a decision. So you have to do that every now and then, and that's less than one time a game based on where we're at. But just to make them play honest.
What makes Mark Andrews so effective for them?
He can do it all. Just his ability to catch the ball. He's big. He can run. He's athletic. You can see it all over the field. When in doubt, he's going to get the ball. But he is tough to defend. But I feel like we have guys that can match up against him just because of the size.
Is Grant one of those guys? And how have you seen him kind of develop throughout this season?
Yeah, Grant's definitely getting better. A lot of this stuff for this year for him is we're kind of finding out about him every game. We didn't have that opportunity last year. So there's things that we try to fix that we see that show up on tape. But I think he's progressing well, and he's fitting into the system the way I thought he would.
With JOK, we know that he had the high ankle and missed the games, then came back and left the game Sunday.
Yeah.
What's he looking like this week to you, and what percentage do you think you have of him?
Yeah, he's better. He's running around. He's fighting through it. So we'll definitely have him for the game. And see the whole way 100%? Probably not. But, him at 90, 95% is pretty good.
Do you think he'll have tack?
It's looking that way. Again,
what can he give you that third edge rusher you were hoping to have all year?
It's just explosive. He gives us versatility. We can move guys around. He can play outside, inside. But just the athleticism he brings definitely be a bonus against these guys.
How do you size up the season Denzel Ward's put together for you? I know early on you talked about him maybe trying to do too much. And we've seen him make some big plays in the last few weeks.
You can see what he's capable of doing. Denzel, for me, has a lane size, speed, quickness that you look for in the number one corner, but you can't press and try to make plays. And I think early in the season, he was trying to do that, or his technique, his eye discipline wasn't there. But I think now he's starting to settle down, and you're seeing him making some, impactful plays in games.
Why do you think he was pressing?
Just wanting to be the playmaker for us. We have playmakers at all three levels of our defense. You just have to do your job and make the plays you're supposed to make. And when they come your way, if you play proper technique, then you'll make those plays.
We saw you use
30
in that nickel spot with Troy out. We're Ronnie there too. But Greg being able to do both, kind of play inside and outside. How has he come along being asked to do that?
Yeah, he's doing a great job. And we trained him from the first time he got here, from the offseason on, just being a versatile corner. So we had visions of him playing either inside nickel, or if we want to put four corners on the field, go with our quarter package. So he's done a nice job, and I think it was big for him just in terms of confidence booster, playing inside last week and doing a nice job.
You're up.
All right, there's Joe Woods at the podium. Time for a little matchup. Our defense versus a Ravens offense that is a little more diversified than I think people realize, and they can get you in the pass game big time, buddy.
Yeah, and they're going to be healthy going into this one. Hollywood Brown will be back for them. They've got Rashad Bateman. They've got Mark Andrews, and you're right. Lamar Jackson in 9 games, 2,500 yards passing, 14 touchdowns, another 639 yards rushing. When you add that up, folks, what you get here is a guy who's got 3,086 total yards in 9 games. 3,086 total yards in 9 games. And so you said you put that number at 290 or whatever, so 3,086 divided by 9. He's averaging 343 total yards per game as Lamar Jackson. He is the straw that stirs the drink. It's without question. They've got Devontae Freeman, who's given a little bit of juice in that ground game. He averages 4.6 yards carry. I still don't understand, and not for me to question, why Tyson Williams, who averaged 5.5 yards a carry,
tell me about it,
gets no run whatsoever.
I held on to him for the longest time in fantasy, just going, at some point, can we please run this kid? Please, at some point. Finally had to pull it.
So he has the same number of carries as Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell mustered 83 yards. He mustered 180. But he can't get any run. I don't get it. But here's where they're dangerous. You talk about speed. You've got Hollywood Brown, 52 catches, 719 yards, 6 touchdowns. You've got a guy in Rashad Bateman who I think is going to be, and he's still in search of his first touchdown, 21 catches, 270 yards, I think is a stud. Then you have Sammy Watkins as the third, who's averaging 16 yards a catch here. He can still play. He hit the big one that won that game for him. He's got 347 yards. To put that into context, he'd be the second leading receiver on the Browns, okay? Sammy Watkins. And then you have the tight end Mark Andrews. So when you're talking about a team that can go in 11 personnel with Hollywood Brown, Sammy Watkins, Bateman, and Mark Andrews, that is really good. And then they've got the best lead blocker in the NFL in Patrick Ricard, who is just an absolute wrecking ball and somebody who runs around and paves the way in a lot of things that they do. This is a good offense. Now, do they have any weaknesses? Yeah, they do. And the biggest one is Alejandro Villanueva, the former Pittsburgh Steeler.
West Pointer.
38 hurries allowed, pressures allowed, 7 sacks on the season, 38. He has been by far the biggest liability for this team all season long. He is the left tackle. This is where Miles, Clowney, Tack, you've got to be able to get around Alejandro Villanueva, and then that is the path. Kevin Zeitler, still a very, very good player, hasn't allowed a sack all season. No surprise there. Now their center, their guard, and their other right tackle have all allowed 3 sacks apiece. That's why I think we can get there. I think we can get him 2, maybe 3 times. And if we do, I think we're going to be in good shape. I'm pretty sure Lamar himself has been sacked about 29 times in 9 games, so he's averaging about 3 a game. That's what we've got to do. We've got to disrupt them. And then the other thing that you wonder, and how often do you do what Miami did? How often do you go to that well where you overwhelm them, 0 blitz them, and leave guys out there on islands knowing that you can get there first, which is what Miami did. I mean, they did it over 50% of the time, and they shut them down. Now, they've had 10 days, and I would imagine they've spent a decent amount of time figuring out answers to that, because why wouldn't you? It's a copycat league, as Joe Wood said. That's out there on tape, and people are going to try to get after them in that way. That's a dangerous thing, because with their speed, 1 tackle and the guy's gone. But I do think the Browns are going to have to mix that in some, because they need to prove that they can deal with it before you don't give it a go.
Yeah, and I think, we've been talking about it all week, but so much of everything that's happened here in the last couple of years defensively has been as a counter to this team, to Kansas City, knowing that what you're trying to build here is a Super Bowl contender. In order to do so, you're going to have to beat Baltimore to win your division. You're going to have to then deal with Kansas City and Buffalo and these quarterbacks who can do a lot of things. So you have to have speed, and that's what we have, and we are healthy. We are as healthy as we've been defensively. We don't know about Troy, but other than that, defensively, Tack coming back, you feel like you're about as healthy as you've been since when? I mean, all year. So you were put in place. You think about drafting Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah or John Johnson coming in, or Grant Delpit before that, the trade for Harrison. All of it was to get faster on the perimeter in the back 7.
Yep.
And, you should be able to and to deal with all the things. As you were going through them and you were talking about, how tough they are to stop them defensively, what they can do offensively, let's remember, too, that they're without their answer. I'm not saying that they're the same, but they've been without their answer for Chubb and Hunt all year. No Edwards, no J.K. Dobbins. Like, that is what they were supposed to be. They had drafted Rashard Bateman. They were putting him with those receivers, and then they had both those backs and Lamar. So they're doing this without both of those guys, and have all year with a patch meal group of guys that have been run out there at tailback off the scrap heap. Like, these guys are gone.
If they
DeMarco Murray played 10 snaps.
If they didn't have the clutch meter, this is a 3-7 team.
Yeah.
But they do.
They do.
They have that gene, and that's what we're going to have to overcome, because being able to deal with that and beat them at their own place, if we're able to get a lead and then hold off a comeback, psychologically that has a big impact.
Yeah.
Because we've stopped them. We've done it, and now we have an opportunity again in 2 more weeks. But it starts this Sunday night. You've got to take care of your business, and if you're the Cleveland Browns, there is a banged-up defense.
Yeah.
It is. The offense is operating in a fashion that you say that's what we want them to try to do, is have to throw the ball all over the place.
Yep.
Lamar's been really, really good at it. We just have to be better, and we've got to – I think you can't let Hollywood Brown get over the top. You've got to make them – the more plays they have to run on offense, I think the better it is for you.
Yeah. By the way, not only was I a middle yesterday, I was a middle at the host table. Various tables. I was the middle at the host table.
Well, duh.
In the middle.
It's good scouting.
Yeah, that's right.
Who scouted that out? But I got to have a turkey. I got to have one of the 2
Did you get one of the legs?
I was offered a leg by Miss Kay's father.
And that's a great job out of him.
Felt like a great honor.
That is, well, appropriate, but a truly appreciated honor there.
It was, and I went to town on that leg.
Yeah.
I sure did.
The leg did not exist. It was they took all the meat off the leg and then put it on a plate with the dark meat. So I had to go looking for the portions of the leg, which I thought was, I like.
I believe that once you have been deemed, to be the middle at the host table, that's also saying you're getting the
second leg.
That's right.
Yeah, the non-host leg.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's good. That's a good rule of thumb out of you. We'll get your keys to victory coming up next. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Beau Bishop here for my friends at Raising Cane's. And stop by Raising Cane's this holiday and enjoy your hand-battered cooked-to-order chicken fingers with the Peanuts Gang. Visit RaisingCanesGear.com to purchase a limited edition Peanuts t-shirt and Charlie Brown or Snoopy plush puppy. Net proceeds will be donated to Canine Companions to provide trained assistance to dogs for people with disabilities. Purchase the items in store, and net proceeds will be donated to a local pet welfare organization. Give the gift of Raising Cane's gift card this year so that everyone on your list can enjoy hand-battered cooked-to-order chicken fingers. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love. Time for your keys to victory. Dr. Z.
Beau, thank you very much. It's a big game, big stakes, but there is a path to victory for the Cleveland Browns. There's many paths to victory, but I'd like to follow this formula here. Number one, clutch up. We've already talked about it. The Ravens are the most clutch team in the NFL. 5-1 in games decided by 7 points or fewer. 4-0 in games decided by 3 points or less. They've trailed going into the fourth quarter in 6 of their 10 games. They're 4-2 in those games. In another game in which they held the lead going into the fourth quarter, they would lose the lead in the fourth quarter. They have won 5 games already out of 10 in which they've been behind in the fourth quarter this season. Another measure, their clutch meter comes on defense, number one, both third down and in the red zone. They're a personification of a team that just finds a way to get the job done. And on Sunday night, the Browns need to steal that mojo and be the clutch team when it matters the most. Think about the fact the Browns have taken the lead 9 times into the fourth quarter.
9 times.
9 times. Grace! 9 times. We're 6-3 in those games. Last year, we were undefeated in such contests. So the Browns need to kind of clutch up. There's a good chance, the odds would say we should have the lead. By the way, no team has been in the lead going in the fourth quarter more times than our Cleveland Browns here. Nobody in the NFL.
Yeah.
Tied with Arizona, 9. To do that, we've got to play clean. We've got to start fast. The Ravens 4-1 when leading at the half, and then execute in the money situations. Last week, the Browns offense continued to struggle on third downs, 5 of 13, 38.5%, but they delivered touchdowns on both red zone trips, getting 7 instead of 3s enabled them to get the win. We need to do that. Number 2, takeaways. The Browns have generated 10 takeaways this season. 9 of them have come in the 6 wins, just 1 takeaway in the 5 losses. Browns 5-1 this season when generating just a single takeaway as a defense. 5-1 when generating just a single takeaway as a defense. Their last 2 wins, they have 5 takeaways combined. The Browns this year, 3-0 in games with multiple takeaways. 9-0, 9-0 all time under Kevin Stefanski. When the defense, forget everything else, the defense has 2 takeaways, 9-0. Lamar Jackson, 3 interceptions, 46% completions when under pressure. They need to force those turnovers. And believe it or not, Jackson himself has thrown 5 interceptions in his last 4 starts. He has multiple turnovers alone in 3 of his last 4 starts. That could help me get to that 4 number that I need. But when you think about it, Jackson, 8 interceptions in 9 games. He will give you an opportunity to take the ball away. They average 1.3 giveaways per game, multiple giveaways 5 times in Lamar's 9 starts. That is going to be big. The Browns, by the way, 2-0 in the last 6. Browns are 2-0 when they don't turn the football over at all time under Stefanski. They're 10-1 with a clean sheet. When they have turned it over in the last 6 games, 1-3 in those 4. Keep the sheet clean and go get that W. And then finally, it's got to be an aerial assault, folks. You throw to score, you run to win. The Browns have been struggling to score of late, and that's in large part to their struggles in the passing game. When the Browns and Baker Mayfield are both efficient and explosive, this offense scores points in bunches. When the pass game struggles, so do the Browns. In the Browns' 5 highest scoring games this year, they're averaging 33.8 points per game. In those games, Mayfield, 72% completions, 9.8 yards per attempt, 260.5 yards per game, 6 touchdowns, 2 pick, and an average quarterback rating of 111. By the way, as a quarterback for the Browns, Baker Mayfield, 18-2. The Browns are 18-2 when Mayfield has a quarterback rating of 100 or better.
Jeez.
18-2. It's just that simple. Now, in the 5 games that Baker has started, the other 5, the Browns are averaging 11.6 points per game. We don't middle.
We are not middling.
No, we are either on or we're off. And the games when we're off, Baker, 56% completions, 6.1 an attempt, 172.6 per game, 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 3 quarterback ratings in the 50s, and an average quarterback rating of 71.4. 6.5. We talked about it again. Big injuries on the back end for the Ravens. 31st pass defense, explosive plays 17% of the time, third most in the NFL. We have got to throw the football on this team. Baker has got to be on his game. The receivers need to be on their games. The line with the returning Jack Conklin needs to protect, and we should be able to slice and dice this secondary.
No middle ground for us. We're either Freddie Funkhauser and we're dominating the middle, having the time of our lives, or we're Cousin Andy, and we have no business being in the mix. So that's.
I didn't even know his first name.
You didn't? Yeah.
Didn't want to.
It's the high watermark for them when she was selling the hats, and Larry's putting Skyler through college, and that's not enough. He's putting Kyler through college, but he won't sell hats. Won't sling hats for her.
And that was.
Yeah. But somehow they live in his neighborhood. So she went from. So I assume that they're on the payroll,
which is
right
awful.
Because she went from we had to sell hats to make a living to now they're living on the same block with Larry because they walk around and we're picking him up for a walk.
Yeah, do you want to walk?
And they're at the club. He's at the club with him. I assume that's not all on scholarship.
I think it might be. I think it might be all on scholarship.
Well, no, it's all on scholarship. What I'm saying is he's probably an independent member at the club,
right.
on scholarship. But he's not always going with Larry, is the way that I perceive that to be.
Really outrageous.
It really is. It's good life, though, if you can get it. We'll do the scores coming up next. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. That's this isn't Faith, right? This is the current one.
Carrie Underwood.
Carrie, yeah. That was the only season of that show I watched. She won the one with the Simon Cowell show that was on 20 years ago that was really popular. American Idol. She won it.
Yeah.
And we were a CBS affiliate. I worked at a CBS affiliate at the time, and they were really pushing the show. No. We were CBS, but we were doing Fox News. Fox had paid us to do Fox's News at 10 o'clock. So we did the 11 o'clock news for CBS, and we did which was what we were owned, and then Fox paid us to do a 10 o'clock news. And so this led into the Fox newscast that I used to do. And when she won it, and it was pretty obvious from Jump Street that she was.
I was going to say it was 2 or 3 weeks in. You were like, well,
oh yeah,
there's one, and then there's
one.
Everybody else.
Yeah, that one will be the winner here. Imagine kicking back in the evenings in your very own hot tub, or the mornings. Bootsy had a morning soak.
I would love it right now. That'd be great.
Would that be great?
Yeah.
Little hot toddy, maybe.
Sure.
In the elements.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I mean, that's where it's at.
That's where we're at.
Well, you got to go see my friends at Northeast Factory Direct because they buy those hot tubs by the truckload, and they take everything you hate about shopping away. No big fancy showroom or annoying high-pressure salespeople. Northeast Factory Direct, simple warehouse. The sales staff doesn't work on commission, and then they pass the savings on to you. So if you always wanted a hot tub, but you think you couldn't afford one, you can. Go see them like I did. See for yourself. West 140th Street in Cleveland, Lakeland Boulevard in Euclid, or Freeway Drive in Macedonia, or shop them online anytime at northeastfactorydirect.com. And with that, the scores.
Gentlemen, how did we do last week?
Last week, give it 7 and 8. One down for both of us. So coming into the week, 21 games over 500 for Beau, 23 over 500 for me. But we're already off to a lovely start in this week.
Off to a good start.
That's right.
We are off to a good start, and I can interest you in nothing but a lot of garbage on Sunday outside of a couple games before we take the field Sunday night.
Can I say one thing?
You may.
That this is, so we had 3 straight weeks, and I feel like we've done a pretty good job of illuminating this to the folks. We've had 3 straight weeks where double-digit favorites not only didn't cover but lost. And in some cases lost big.
A lot.
Like beat down, loss. So we're talking like being off by 20, 30 points in some instances over the last 3 weeks. What you see as you look at the scores this week, and if you want to factor in Dallas as well, which was 7.5, I believe, there is not a single double digit, and the biggest number out here is 7. I haven't seen that. To have no double-digit favorites, to not have an 8.5, to not have a 9.5, it's 7. Everything else is it's all by a score.
Yep.
And I don't recall that in all the years we've done the scores. I don't recall that.
I think Vegas is getting a little tight.
Well, that's pretty evenly matched teams. I mean,
there are no. I think the big takeaway is there are no great teams. There really aren't.
Truth.
There's nobody that's great.
There's
week
a
to
bunch
week.
of good teams.
There's no carryover.
So Dallas would have been the biggest favorite of the day of the week, and they've already lost outright. So the biggest favorite of the week has lost outright
again.
Yeah.
So it'll be the 4th.
I don't know what
week.
Buff and New Orleans got to at kick because it was definitely money was
coming in late
on Buffalo, which was the easiest block of the week.
Although I did not get that one.
Sad.
Hate to see it.
2-1.
State school. You can only do so much. You got private school.
Exactly.
You're more interested in the college game at night anyway. That one you didn't give your full attention to.
I did not. No.
By that point, I was footballed out. I thought about I should have gone over to the college game.
Oh, the Egg Bowl. It's gorgeous.
I know it is.
These college ones, man, they're all class warfare. It's always hotty toddy versus blue collar. They all are that way.
Yep.
So there's so much deep seated hate. They're great. It's a great weekend for
Yeah. No, and it promises to be a fantastic weekend of college football.
Yeah.
Leading into Sunday night when we cap off the weekend. Let's get things going. Week 12 in the National Football League. The Falcons, who have 1 win at home this year, but somehow are 3-2 on the road, visiting Jacksonville. And I'd like to say right away, well, this is the inmate game of the week.
Nope, it's not.
We're going to get to that because there's lots of options for that this week. Zegura, go ahead.
It's the battle of the killer G's. Gutless grinding.
Oh, boy, a lot of G's.
A lot of G's in this one. I wonder if Kenny's going to get on the sax, the flute, to really kind of set a score for this one. But I feel like 10 days to prepare. My man, Brandon Lynch, let's go, baby. Let's go. Love that guy. I feel like with 10 days to prepare, coming off what can only be described as a Thursday night humiliation at the hands of the New England Patriots, I feel like the Falcons going to find they've reached the pits of despair. And they're going to crawl right on out, just like in Princess Bride. Falcons, 35. Grinders, 12.
Bishop?
Boy, so the Falcons the last 2 times out, the score is like 70. Is it 78-3? 78-6?
It's not
They've
good.
Been beaten the last 2 times
Not
out.
good.
Yeah. So that, I mean, really, what you're managing here is 2 gutless teams give a damn style, and what that is. Boy, can Jacksonville win a game though? I just don't know if they can win a game. I think that's the tricky part. I think this is ugly. I'm with you. I like Atlanta by 3, 21-18.
Up next, Carolina 5-6, visiting 4-7 Miami. The Dolphins have won 3 in a row. I thought this was not a good game. Zegura seems to think it could be.
There's just worse games coming.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Bishop.
It's valedictorian to summer school. That's what it is. The Skittles still have a little bit of juice to them. And I think Joe Brady showed some stuff with Cam last week. And I like what he did with him. And Cam's still relatively healthy. I like Carolina going to Miami and winning by 7.
I'm with you. There's something about this one, though, that if we look back on it, Miami wins, it'd be like everybody's into Cam.
Yeah.
But we're forgetting he lost.
They did lose. They did lose.
To Washington.
To Washington, yeah.
Miami, 10 days to prepare. Just gotten a good game plan for Lamar Jackson. Boy, Cam's going to get it done, though. 44-43.
Oh, my gosh. What a safe job out of you. Safe. Very safe.
Yeah, safe.
Up next, this one, the inmate game of the week.
Yeah, this is it.
The Jets. Oof.
Zach Wilson, by the way, with like me and you backing him up.
Yeah.
There's no humans left.
No, there are none.
And I don't
Everybody
even know
else
how healthy
in COVID
he is.
protocols.
Like, would he even be playing if they didn't have any other quarterbacks?
I don't know. He was not good.
And
Houston's
I'm going to
been
say
pretty
this.
good.
They're the worst franchise in the NFL right now. They're worse than the Detroit Lions, who don't have a win. I know the Lions don't have a win, so immediately you got to go, well, they're the worst team in the NFL. No, they're not. No, they're not. This team is. The Jets.
They both stink.
2-8. Visiting the Houston Texans, 2-8. Fresh off a big win last week over Tennessee. Can Houston continue to screw themselves out of a good NFL draft position?
It's a good point out of you. Yeah, of course. They're winning here at the end. They're going to get a bunch of garbage wins here at the end of this year. Here's one of them. I like Houston by maybe 2 scores.
Ram it.
Tyrod,
Brandon Cooks, David Johnson. It's like 2015 all over again.
Up next, guys, we move on. This one, not a whole lot better. Man, the 1 o'clock games, I'll tell you what.
Skip them.
If you have a honey-do list on Sunday, just make sure you're done by like 3:30.
Watch the end of Steelers Cincinnati, and that's about it.
Like get home in time for the fourth quarter of that one. The Philadelphia Eagles somehow are 5-6 on the year. I really don't know how, but they're 4-2 on the road. They visit the G-Men, the New York Football Giants, at 3-7. Freddie Kitchens calling the plays, Zegura.
He'll do a nice job.
He will do. First, 2 things real quick. Did you, growing up in the Bay Area, I did on the Ponderosa, the honey-do list, was that a term you were familiar with before you ever came to the state of Ohio?
No, I don't. My dad was not big on labeling chores or honey. No one told my dad to do anything, for starters.
My dad was telling
you're doing it.
I had the chores.
There was no honey-do list. Like, no one asked anything of him. He demanded of all.
Yeah.
Right. And
Very
from
simple.
there was pretty one rule. No, and this is just what you do. It wasn't like there was no lists.
Yeah.
Honey, will you do this? No.
No, I won't.
Don't
As a
ask.
matter of fact.
And quit asking, in the words of
And
Nick
if she
Saban.
did say, if my mom were to ask, hey, Dad, hey, Patar, will you do this?
Yeah.
I'd say, yeah, and then he'd turn around, nerd, you're doing this.
Right. I'm not doing that.
No
list.
Not much. By the way, we gave Sirianni a little grief when he was talking about, the roots and it's underground. You haven't seen
growing
anything.
things.
Since then. Some beautiful flowers, baby, and I think they stay a-bloomin'. Eagles, ram it.
6-6 then.
Well, listen, they beat the Lions 44-6. They lost a close one to the Chargers 27-24. Whipped the Broncos 30-13. Whipped the Saints 40-29. They're whipping bad teams. That's the thing you can take from that. Jalen's playing nice. So, yeah, the Giants are a bad team. I'm with you.
By the way, going back, the beginning of the show, the opening segment, I was doing a couple other things in preparation for Sunday.
Sure, you got a lot of
Did we talk? Did y'all talk about the fact that Taysom Hill wasn't used at all, and he just got a $40 million extension?
We talked about that on.
We talked about it on Friday or
Wednesday.
Yeah,
First Friday.
but
First Friday. Yeah.
How about last night? Trevor Simeon's garbage.
But it's not
and
about
you
that.
didn't even play Taysom Hill?
It's really not about. I don't think it's about that. I think it's just about I'm right, and I will prove it by paying this guy, even though there's absolutely no market for him.
He has to be dating his daughter.
I want somebody
No
out
other way
there who
around.
decides, I need to be right about something, and I want to give Nathan Zegura $60 million to prove it.
To prove how right I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't care what it's about either.
You find
I'm
that
open
man.
To that. I'm open to that.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
I don't know. It just boggles my mind.
It's insane, Gibbe. It is.
There's no. That should be talked about on national shows more than anything else right now. Is what is the mindset of that move?
He did not have a pass attempt. He did not have a rush attempt. He did not have a target.
Yes, correct.
Drew Davidson's favorite player, Little Jordan Humphrey.
Oh.
Little Jordan led the team 3 catches, 47 yards. Little Jordan, by the way, an ironic name, as he is 6'4", 225.
Is S aware that we're on the radio right now? I got 75 texts from him. We're doing a show, S. This is not a way to become a guest on this show, I assure you.
Beau, lines dropped to 7. Makes no sense. Hope we aren't missing anything. People saying Stroud's sick. Of course.
Doesn't matter. Play Kyle McCord. You're safe.
Have a shot.
You're fine.
Settle down.
What are we doing?
Take
Which
a
game are we
Quaalude.
doing? We both said Philly, right?
Yes.
Yep. Next, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Pukers, headed to Cincinnati, the Dirty Natty. Steelers, Bengals, big AFC North. Lots of movement potentially in the AFC North on Sunday. Bishop.
Yeah. Pittsburgh's got a little juice right now, but I think Cincinnati's been waiting for this game. I think they're ready. I think they have some of the things that Pittsburgh's going to struggle with. I like Cincinnati big, 27-24.
Bengals would go to 3-1 in the division.
27-24, big. Bengals big.
I like the Bengals bigger than that. I think this is a beating. I don't know if the Steelers are that great. Bengals.
What did you say? Clutch AF?
34.
They have that.
34. Steelers 17.
Beat down.
Yeah.
Next, Tampa Bay on the road in a dome. The Buccaneers head north to battle maybe the hottest team in the National Football League, the Indianapolis Colts. Colts are 3-3 at home, 6-5 on the year, and playing as well as anybody, riding a 3-game winning streak. Tampa Bay 7-3 on the year, but 2-3 away from home.
I think Vegas thinks this is a pick'em.
They do by that number, yeah.
And there's a Tampa Bay tax because people want to bet on Tom Brady to put it to -3. I think they would legitimately say this is an evenly matched game, which I find that hard to believe, but the Colts are hot. Now, it's going to fall on the shoulder of Carson Wentz because it is very difficult to run on Tampa Bay, but you can throw the football on Tampa Bay. I have a hard time with this one. I think that there is value on the Colts side, but I don't think that I can bet on Carson Wentz defeating Tom Brady. So what I will do is say the Bucs are going to win 31-29.
Same.
Next, maybe the second hottest team in the AFC, if not all of the National Football League, the New England Patriots, getting a lot of love in Vegas, playing host to the Tennessee Titans. Titans 8-3, but coming off that stinger to the Houston Texans. No Derrick Henry on the road in Belichickville.
It's pretty amazing. So this is since losing 19-17, and then they struggle to beat the Texans. Then they lose at home to Dallas by 6.
Yep.
So then they beat the Jets 54-13.
Yep.
They beat the Chargers 27-24. They beat the Panthers 24-6.
Huge.
They beat us 45-7, and they beat the Falcons 25-0. Now a lot of those teams are bad teams that they've slumped. We're not a bad team, but we're among them of the teams that they've absolutely put it to. Here's the deal, though. Belichick with a week, that defense is legit, and with a week without Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown, we don't know what's going on with him. It's just Tannehill and scrap parts. No, Belichick and the Rook, big, slump town.
Here's something that I find wild, is that this line opened at 2.5 and is now 7.
Is that real? Wow, that's a big jump.
That's what it says. Line opened at 2.5. It is now 7. Just for comparison's sake, I'll do the same thing on the Eagles one that opened at 3 and is now 3.5. So yeah, it is real. So that is. I think Vrabel's got it out for him.
He does.
I think Vrabel wants this one. I don't think they're going to win, but I do think they are going to keep it close. I don't believe that it will be Slumptown. I believe it's going to be like something like 16-13 Pats on the strength of Nick Folk making 3 field goals for the win.
Folk, emphasizing the L. Good job by you.
I did emphasize the L because you don't want to get in trouble.
Yep, exactly.
WNBC.
Moving on to the 405 and
you
425
took
games.
In the slump.
Yep.
Chargers visiting the Broncos. Big one in the AFC West. The Chargers are 6-4. They're 3-1 away from home, but really all of their games are road games. They are 6-4, therefore, on the road. Visiting the 2-3 at home Denver Broncos, playing for their playoff lives.
Isn't that embarrassing? Like, what can the NFL do about that? To keep the Chargers from playing home road games every week. I mean, that's just what it's going to be.
Did
you see the Pittsburgh game?
Yeah.
Yes.
That looked like a
That's not
sight
right.
out of our stadium a few years ago.
I don't think they can do anything about it.
Other than move the franchise,
right?
Which they're not going to do. Yeah. Chargers by $1 billion.
I just feel like that it's too easy. And I don't think it is that easy. This is one of the biggest public bets of the week. Chargers 30.
Ooh.
Theodore.
Ooh, boy.
28.
Wow. There you go.
You don't like that one at all.
No, I don't.
Best game of the week that is not the Browns and the Ravens. Kicks off at 4:25. Can I interest you in a little Los Angeles Rams 7-3, traveling to Lambeau to do battle with the Packers. Rams, Packers.
So they think the Rams are better than the Packers.
Yeah.
What have you seen the last 2 weeks to lead you to believe that the Rams are better than the Packers?
Nothing.
Nothing. I don't understand this. To me, this doesn't make any sense.
What's McVay off of bye? Is McVay something crazy?
I have no idea, but it's probably going to be cold up there, I assume.
Yep.
I mean, the Packers' defense is pretty legit. Rodgers had the weird toe thing this week, so I don't know. But
Didn't
I don't think it
practice
stopped.
all week.
Didn't stop him last week. He's fine.
Their defense got.
Yeah, but that's the Vikings team, as we know, is pretty.
They're good.
Pretty dialed in. I like the Packers.
Packers 4-0 at home too.
Ram it, baby. Let's go. I really think so. Coming off a bye, I like it. I think there are elements of McVay's offense that are similar to those of the Minnesota Vikings. I think now you got Odell with actually a chance to get acclimated into what they're trying to do. You got Cooper Kupp still. I like Milwaukee. I think the Rams do it. I think they ram it. I think they win by more than a touchdown.
Wow. There you go.
All right, final one. We got 60 seconds. Vikings visiting the 49ers. The Vikings, Colts, Patriots, probably the 3 hottest teams in the National Football League. Vikings to the West Coast to battle Pedro, not Pedro.
Nerd. We're hot. Tell Gibby the seat. He sits on a throne of ice. Kyle, the Ice King gangsta. He's getting it done. But, Dad,
you're 5.
I think the Vikings are really good, and I'm kind of really surprised, to be honest with you, that the Niners will be favored. Nerd, we're going to lose. Everybody knows it. You're right, Dad. Vikings.
Wow. It's a tough one. Give me Kyle.
I mean, we have one of us.
This could go a lot of different ways. It could go a lot of different ways. Or it could be a mix. Who knows? We'll do ours next. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. For a running back, getting extra yards is great. Ball security, the first priority. For gamblers, keeping priorities straight is important, so make sure all your bills are paid before you spend money on fun stuff like gambling. Get more tips like this at keepitfunohio.com.
Yesterday, Raiders Cowboys game delivered an estimated 38.531 million viewers, the most watched NFL regular season game on any network since 1990.
Good Lord, really? 1990?
Up 26% from last year's comparable game window, and it was the most streamed game ever, also on Paramount Plus. The highest, most watched NFL regular season game on any network since the year 1990.
Boy, that's rare you go all the way back to 1990.
Apparently not dying the NFL.
Man, no, quite strong, quite strong. I got Buckeyes cover city. I think it's 8. Although S is in panic mode, who knows?
Sicknesses abound.
Yeah, I think he's going to be fine.
49-21.
Yeah,
let's go.
He's safe. There's one roadmap for Michigan.
The kid's going to be there.
They're
going
to run it. They're going to run it.
The
kid's going to be there.
He's going to be in the house.
Oh wow, is that his place? Is he like them, or is he like?
He went. He graduated in '97 with Chucky Wood.
Do you ever put them in the same spot? Him and S?
Oh yeah, they've had some verbal sparring. The kid has no tolerance for the insanity of when S gets.
But he also probably protects him. Yeah. Because he acts like he's not as invested. So, but he probably deep down is.
Invested. The kid cares.
Yeah, we didn't think he would have to if he was a Chuck Wood.
Bummed. He just would like to win, but at least he had that glory, right? And that was he was there.
He was there for the glory.
Yeah.
All right, us and Ravens.
It's going to be tight. We're going to pull it out 27-24. 27-24.
Same.
Browns.
Let's go.
Let's
get it done. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll be back here on Monday. The next level is coming up next. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.